Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour.
In a movie, you have one chance to make something happen and to happen right. Bring it bigger, better than it's been seen before. I've been a working stuntman for 25 years now. Definitely not about glory or showing off. It's about making the impossible possible. I'm third generation in the business. Started with my grandfather, then my dad got involved in it. I've been in 115 movies. Period movies are awesome. Last of the Mohicans was a great adventure with my family, with my dad and brothers. There's those crazy ass blockbusters that are where it's just over the top, to the moon, you know, bigger than life. Funnest movies, for sure, would be Waterworld. 50 of my best stunt buddies in Hawaii, wrecking stuff every day on the water. Obviously, car work is the ultimate. The whole goal with Need for Speed was to go as fast as we can. On the movie set, there's generally probably 150 to 200 people that are your working crew. You got to manage where everybody's at all times. Making sure we have communications dialed in between our assistant director, our players, our stunt personnel that are working around.
Hey, what do we need to do to extend this to a
On Need for Speed, there was a huge car crash that we were going to do that was, kind of a turning point in the movie. Something that, you need to be going 200 miles an hour to do for real. Our director wanted to, obviously he wanted everything to be done practical, but he felt that the look of this particular wreck that he could do might have to happen in a CG environment. Came up with an idea of pushing the vehicle sideways, profile, and hitting these huge pipe ramps. We can do this for real. He kind of said, really? All right, well, show me. I then, as the coordinator, said, okay, let's do this. I know we can do it. I know it's totally possible. Your raw skill is going to get you through it, but at a certain point, you're going to need that extra moment of practice to pull you through it consistently.
start pulling this back, please. Alright, Troy, here we go. I'm going to start pushing.
So you set?
Set. Yeah, action, Troy.
I had all the confidence in the world. The director had all the confidence in the world, and we came in and we nailed it. And it was awesome. Lance Gilbert, stunt coordinator, action designer.
Good morning. Welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Let's see. I would imagine this is going to be the final edition of 2014. Where does the time go? Coming up, I think it's January, as best my memory serves me. We will be into our 24th year with Bobby Likis Car Clinic. So if it's new to you, if you've just tuned into today's broadcast, I'm Bobby Likis. My passion is automobiles, cars, fuels, oils, you name it. But mainly my passion is to help you get so that when you take your car to your local service shop, you can better express yourself, and you have those, you're armed with information and you'll know the right question to ask. That's the secret. That's the ticket. Kim will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic, put you in a queue, and I will put you on the air. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by General Tire and the new G-Max AS03, the ultra high-performance all-season tire. Visit GeneralTire.com for more details. Also, this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Power Frame Grid Technology. Folks, batteries may all look the same from the outside, but it's what's inside that really matters. Get a battery with the technology to be stronger and more dependable. Look for the Power Frame logo. Learn more at Power Frame Logo. Learn more 888-227-2546. How can you improve battery performance? Power Frame Grid, a more advanced kind of positive grid technology designed to combat the common causes of premature battery failure. Power Frame Grid technology is formed from a single sheet of precisely rolled and stamped metal. This patented manufacturing process makes the battery more resistant to corrosion. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you. Your demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on the next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with anywhere is possible. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Fact or Friction. Brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance lubricants that outperform. Fact or Friction. Heat caused by radiator surface tension can be damaging. Fact. Water's natural surface tension causes a disconnect between the coolant and the radiator surface. Think boundary layer. In effect, this boundary layer reduces the radiator's available area to transfer heat to air flowing across radiator fins. A radiator additive is a wetting agent which smooths water flow and reduces thereby lowering engine temperature. When choosing a radiator additive for your vehicle, consider Purple Ice. Purple Ice, compatible with all coolants, is not only a wetting agent, but also a corrosion inhibitor. Add Purple Ice to your radiator every time the cooling system is flushed. Visit RoyalPurple.com for all the Purple Ice advantages. Then pick up your Purple Ice today at Pep Boys.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another great place to use Visa.
The aroma of cocoa dances in the air while pure Belgian truffles tease your
You're surrounded by the world's most exquisite chocolates. A dream, you ask? Actually, it's a website. Just click on chocolateepicure.com, where you can order the most decadent confections without ever leaving your home. So get online and get out your Visa card, because at Chocolate Epicure you can sample the world's best, but you can't use American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
So my girlfriend calls and wants to... Yeah. I remind her I have a cold, clogged head, no energy. She says, "Gee, you had that cold yesterday and played basketball for 2 hours." I say, "Yesterday I took Dayquil for it, but now I'm out." I'm thinking, yeah, no shopping. So she says, "We'll get Dayquil at the drugstore. It's next to the shoe store."
Dayquil. The daytime non-drowsy, stuffy head, sore throat, coughing, aching, fever, help get back your energy. Medicine. From the makers of NyQuil.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your hosts, Bobby Likis.
And I want to welcome you to this final edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic for the year 2014. I hope that you've got had a laid-back holiday. It's really been starting with Thanksgiving. Really has really been terrific, not only with our family but almost universally. When I talk to my customers at Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair on the service side of our shop, when I talk to friends, it seems that the season is winding down on a good note, and I hope that's true for you. If you're thinking about buying a new car, or if you're challenged with making the decision to keep your car or trade it in for another used car, or just simply bite a bullet and fix your car up and bring it back to roadworthiness, that's where I can help you. One of the services that we created in our service shop, and for those of you who are not familiar, years we run Bobby Likis Car Clinic Service Pre, and we won the Gannett News Best of the Bay 4 years in a row, except for this year. And this year we won Best Reputation in Automotive Service. So we stepped up our game. And I say our because of my team. That's on the service side. So 50 or 60 hours a week, we're in the trenches. We're talking with people, and yours truly is interacting with people and road testing cars. And I road tested one yesterday, and I could not wait to get out of it. And a gentleman was traveling, headed back to Louisiana from South Florida, and they came in because the transmission was definitely bad. And I was afraid not of the transmission, but of the brakes. I said, "You hear that noise?" And I don't hear any noise. And it was the ABS screaming. And you step on the brake pedal, and you put a little pressure, and the vehicle started to slow, and then the pedal would just collapse and fall another 2.5 inches. You would think it was going to the floor, and then it would stop again. So, I told him, I said, it's time to hold him. This car had 248,000 miles on it, and I advised him not to repair it, but to get another automobile. And that's really, if you're in the business, or if you have a question about your car and you go to your service shop, you have to know when to hold them, when to fold them, and then the challenge really becomes, well, do I spend $2,000 or $3,000 on my car, or $5,000 on a used car to make it whole again, or do I invest in another used car that may have similar problems? And that's where then you fast forward to what we call a pre-purchase vehicle inspection. That's another service that we provide at our service shop. So pre-purchase vehicle inspection, annual inspections, and all of your services that should be performed on your car in a proactive manner to keep it running well. I'm going to take your calls now at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. I do want to reach out to WEGP 1390 AM in Presque Isle, Maine. Pat Patterson, General Manager, and Brian Lawrence, Program Director there at WEGP 1390 AM, Car Clinic's affiliate in Presque Isle, Maine. If that's your neck of the woods, let me hear from you at 888-227-2546. Take a call from Mississippi. James, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Bobby, if I was any better, it'd be illegal. Look, I've owned a lot of vehicles in my life. Every one of them hold 4 and 5 quarts of oil. I had one 302 van that held 7 quarts. I always change oil on a regular basis,
right?
About every 3,000. I recently purchased a 02 exterior, 3.5 quarts of oil.
I know.
What do I do about the You still put 2,000, 2,500 on it?
Well,
or how does 3 quarts of oil keep a motor functioning
James,
properly?
there's no way that. Well, let's back up. One of my cars holds 3.5 quarts, and I often joke about it in sort of in a joking way because I really disagree. It's a smart car, and I've talked about the smart car forever, and I got one. I saw one in Europe, then I got one, and it holds 3.5 quarts of oil, and I use the synthetic. I use Royal Purple in it. The irony is, here's a little car that's half a car. We all know about the smart car. Holds 3.5 quarts of oil in an engine that turns regularly, 6,000 RPM.
Yes.
And this vehicle holds 4.5 quarts of windshield washer fluid. I mean, go figure. And I joke about that all the time. But the 3.5 quarts includes if you change the filter. So what we do, I change that oil in that vehicle every 5,000 miles. I use Royal Purple Synthetic, and I also use a program that we created called Booster Shot. And the Booster Shot would be, it can be either or. With Royal Purple Synthetic, my Booster Shot includes only a fuel additive, but with conventional oil, and we have some customers that use conventional oil from a dollar standpoint. Because conventional oil is less expensive than synthetic, and I won't go there as to you can do the dollars, and dollars do work on synthetic, but we have a Booster Shot that includes a synthetic additive that we add to conventional oil, not synthetic additive, which makes it, if I could, do you remember when Valvoline came out with DuraBlend?
Oh, yes.
It was a great oil. I used it, and so that was what created the desire in me to create a Booster Shot, but not really. The bottom line is I know that the additive package wears out in oil. Oil doesn't wear out. It gets dirty, it gets debris, and it uses up its additive package. So the Booster Shot is sort of a front-loaded addition of a fully synthetic pint of synthetic, not oil, but additives. And then you add that to conventional oil, and then I'm more going the 5,000 miles on oil that we all do today. But with regard,
what kind of filter goes that Royal Purple, Bob? Because that's what I'm gonna go back with.
Well, Royal Purple makes their own filter, and it's a superior. It has the synthetic micro glass, I think they call it, is the term of it. But it's a synthetic, and it pulls out more than 95%. Of all of it's a 25 micron filter. So that's how tight it is. And you can't do any tighter than 25, 25 because you start to choke the oil flow. So it's a 25 micron filter. And if I had your exterior, I would run Royal Purple straight viscosity, whatever the manufacturer calls for, and a Royal Purple filter. And I'll tell you, and you're gonna say, Bobby, this is a whole new ball game. Royal Purple has a pledge, a 12,000 mile or annual pledge, and you can run that oil 1 year or 12,000 miles in that Xterra, and you can go to royalpurpleconsumer.com to learn more. But believe it or not, that's what they say, and that's what they pledge that you can run. It's okay. Now here's what Bobby Likis believes. I believe, how many miles you drive a year?
15, 20.
Then I would change my oil every 6 months or 7,500 miles. Or if you go 20, I'd change it every, it's hard for me to say 10,000, but yeah, I would do it. If you go 20,000 miles in a year, as long as you, and you know how we all drive, you might go 6,000 miles the first half of the year and then 14,000, the last half if you're like me. But what I would do is I would go somewhere in the 7,000 to 8,000 range, and that's my comfort level. And only because you've got an '02 model automobile. If it were new and you were starting it off on your own program, but see, if you didn't buy it new and it's got miles on it, so you don't know what condition or what has happened previously in its lifetime. Unless it's a certified car, then you would have the service records.
Yes.
So
well, I'm the second owner of the vehicle, and it's been well took care of.
Okay.
It's got 200,000 on it. It cranks good. It runs good. The gas mileage is a pit, so I ain't lying. It don't get about 12 miles a gallon.
Well, you got.
But we're working on that.
Yeah, you're working on that. Well, go with the synthetic. I would say change the oil, and we call it the ultimate oil change when we use Royal Purple synthetic oil with the Royal Purple filter. And I would put that schedule at 10,000 miles. And forget the 6 months or what have you. Now, if you only drive 6,000 miles a year, I do it every 6 months because there's a lot of reason for stop and go driving and cold starts and condensation and those sorts of things. But you drive your vehicles more than the average. The average is 15,000 miles. I'm not sure it is today. I think it's actually less than that, but today. But
well, I was just guessing when I said that. I'm retired and I can't afford the gas. Well, I can now, but
you can, yeah. Okay. Hey, my friend, thanks for calling.
Have a good day, and I hope you had a good Christmas and a very happy New Year.
I did. Happy New Year to you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, man. Take care. And folks, I want to. We just ended the Car Clinic's Fall into Free Fuel sweepstakes just in time for the holidays, and I'd like to congratulate the winners one more time. Congrats to Cody Anderson from San Francisco, California, for winning the Escort Passport Max radar detector. To Grant Rademacher, I knew I'd get it right, Grant, from outside Milwaukee, for winning the Royal Purple Leather Lambskin Jacket. To Jennifer Bolig from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, for winning the $250 Visa gift card courtesy of the Renewable Fuels Association. And finally, Adam Stevenson from Baton Rouge for winning the $500 free gas cards from yours truly. And stay tuned, folks, because we'll have a brand new sweepstakes just after the new year. I see that Mark is on hold, and also James Bell from General Motors. You're going to want to stick around and hear what's coming up on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Don't touch that dial. I'll be back.
My car's a sauna. What's with this air conditioning?
You need an AC Pro.
Know any?
Yeah, you.
You got me confused with somebody else.
You're a pro with new do-it-yourself AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
But
You know where to find the hood?
That thing up front?
Exactly. AC Pro's easy, fast, and saves you money. You'll have your car's AC blowing cold air in minutes.
It's like a freezer in here.
Be a pro with new AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
Got a sweater?
From our Car Clinic inbox, another listener question. Bobby, I don't often speed, so why do I need a radar detector? Radar detectors aren't just about speeding tickets. Radar laser detectors are also about safety, since being alerted before you're surprised is key, and because what lies around the bend isn't visible to you, the detector could be your eyes. If an accident lies ahead, chances are law enforcement is on the scene. If their radar is on, you'll be alerted. Escort's Passport Max 2, all-digital, high-definition radar laser detector features advanced military technology called digital signal processing, which enables the Passport Max 2 to identify real threats faster and more accurately. And Escort Live, social networking for the road, alerts you in advance of highway patrol, air patrol, and red light cameras so you can take safe driving to the limit, speed limit that is. Drive smarter and safer with a Passport Max 2 from Escort. Details at escortradar.com.
If it's hard to stop or you hear squealing and grinding noises during braking, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You'll find the brake parts you need from trusted brands like Brake Best Select, and Wagner Thermoquiet at everyday low prices. Play it safe with brake parts from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
When we play a game together, I probably won't say, "Thanks for making me the focus of all your attention and energy." I'll just give you a hug, babble, or do as I make my first million in the game of life. And I may not say, "Hey, this means a lot to me." I may not say it, but you'll know.
Parker Brothers and Milton Bradley invite you to plan a family game night for your family tonight. Everybody who plays wins.
Mom, Dad, thanks for playing.
Commercials are more believable if you get to know real customers. On the line with me is Michael Weisbrod, a Geico Auto Insurance customer. Michael, tell us about the real you.
Well, I'm 5'11", 170 pounds. My turn-ons are sunsets, honest people, walks on the beach, puppies, and low-cost car insurance.
It doesn't get any more real than that. To join sensitive people like Michael, call 1-800-947-AUTO. You could save 15% or more. 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Give us a call, your car questions at 888 Car Clinic. You know, a lot of folks believe that at the end of the year, which is now, it's the best time to buy a car or score a deal. However, James Bell, GM's head of consumer affairs, suggests the best time to buy a car is when you've done your homework and evaluated your needs. James is on the hotline now to give us some car buying 101 insider tips and present the questions that you need to ask yourself before you start your car buying process. I want to welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, James Bell from GM. James, glad to have you in the house.
Oh, thank you, Bobby. It's always a pleasure.
What homework should a customer do before visiting a dealer's showroom, and how's that dealership experience changed over time?
Well, you know, I think first and foremost, it's worth calling out the fact that the average car on the road right now is over 11 years old. So that means many of your listeners probably haven't been into a dealership in some time, haven't seen the new technology that's on today's vehicles, hasn't really experienced, you know, things like satellite radio or satellite navigation or connected features and so forth. So it's a really different showroom environment. So I think the first and foremost is just to kind of prepare yourself for really learning and seeing a lot of new things. Now, what's fantastic about today is that so much of this information is available sitting in the comfort of your dining room table or living room chair or somewhere, and really kind of taking it all in before you visit a dealer. And I think dealerships are finally starting to embrace that and recognize that when people come into a showroom, they're not looking to be educated at that point. They've already educated themselves. They're really just looking for confirmation, maybe a couple of new details they weren't aware of, just to kind of provide some guidance and, you know, help explain some of these fancy new features and technologies that make the car driving experience so much better.
That makes a lot of sense. Let's take that a step further, and I'd like for you to elaborate on how different uses for a new vehicle might play into the process. For example, will a buyer use it for solo commuting, carpool, co-workers, kids, occasional road trips? All of these answers really may have a major impact on what kind of vehicle that they should test drive. So, and how much you should pay for that vehicle. How does that enter into the picture, and what advice can you share?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, and that's something I've been kind of barking about just about all of my career since I've been focused on consumers and car buying and so forth. I think if you go back 10, 15 years ago, there was a funny trend that happened in the American car buying kind of psyche in regards to trying to have one vehicle that did it all. And I think that's where the SUV boom really was fueled from, just having, you know, again, the one vehicle that could tow a boat, put 7 people in there, but then also be comfortable and take the person to work on Monday through Friday. But I think, you know, that trend obviously has kind of turned. I think people are looking at better fuel efficiency, which you're not traditionally going to see in the big SUVs, and looking at the diversification in the industry. We've now got such a fantastic spectrum of choice. And so it makes me a little bit crazy when somebody goes in and just kind of assumes, well, I need that one vehicle that's going to do everything for me. Even if there's 7 seats, I think that's a perfect example. So many people think, well, you know, if I am going to buy an SUV because I need that space or utility, I need to go 7 seats. And then they make that justification based on the fact that they've, you know, twice a year have to pick up family at the airport. And that just seems crazy to me. Buy the vehicle that best meets your needs on a daily basis. And so I suggest putting a logbook in your car, your current vehicle, and for a couple of weeks, just really monitoring how you use that vehicle. Are you picking up friends and going to the movies? Are you picking up kids at soccer practices? Or, as I suspect most people, Are you by yourself in the car, or maybe just one other person? And that really opens up a whole new spectrum of choice where you can choose a vehicle that's really going to best meet your lifestyle, meet your needs, and probably do it in a much more dollar and fuel-efficient way.
Well, to that end, share with our Car Clinic listeners and viewers the importance of knowing how many miles per year they really drive before they go out and shop for a new car.
Absolutely. Miles, actual miles, not just assumed miles, but actual, logged miles that you're driving on a daily or weekly basis is really important for two reasons. Number one, it allows you to focus on what sort of fuel efficiency you need. Now, I know prices are low right now, so people are feeling a little more confident, but who knows how long that's going to last. You don't want to be caught out and burned by your choice, especially if you're planning to keep it for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Secondly, when it comes to the different options, whether you want to buy or lease a vehicle, that mileage usage is really, really important. So many people have leased a vehicle because, my monthly payment is much lower, but then they roll back into the dealership and maybe they were only allowed 15,000 miles a year, and guess what? They're at 19,000, and they either have to pay some fees to trade the vehicle back in, or that's going to get rolled into their next vehicle. So it really is an important thing, not only for your wallet on monthly payment side, buying versus leasing, but then also kind of anticipating where fuel prices may go, that you're going to be covered.
We're talking with General Motors Head of Consumer Affairs, James Bell. James, I'd like to shift gears. Let's talk about the not-so-fun part, paying for the new car. Leasing versus buying is a huge consideration, and each one of those has benefits for the right kind of driver and pitfalls for the wrong. Share with our Car Clinic listeners and viewers your tips on paying for their vehicle, leasing versus buying.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it really does come down to how you're going to use that vehicle. As we just said, you're good. Mileage limitations are going to be part of a lease. I mean, if just for anybody who's familiar with how leasing works, essentially you're negotiating the total price of the vehicle, and then you're only paying for the time that you're going to own the vehicle. So between, let's say the car costs $20,000 and you're going to lease it for 4 years, you're just paying the delta between that $20,000 and what the expected trade-in is going to be after those 4 years. It's really important. I mean, you can get those lower monthly payments, but if you're the type that doesn't take great care of your car, parks it too close to the shopping carts at the grocery store and gets scratches on it, dogs in the back seat all the time making a mess, a lot of mileage, then leasing is not for you, even though that it does give you that lower price point. Now, if you're the type that really, holds on to your vehicle for a long time, obviously buying is going to be more of an option, but there are great ways to go about buying too. I mean, first and foremost is not approaching the contract negotiation or the price negotiation period as a monthly payment. So many people get focused on that. They offer to the dealer, my budget is $400 a month. And then the dealer magically finds a way to come to $399 a month, or worse, maybe up to $430, because he talks you into the fact that you need to put additional down payment in or something. It really is important to negotiate to the final price of the car, and then let those monthly payments lie where they will. If you really work on that final, full contract price of the car, you'll probably find that those monthly payments fall into line as well.
And one more thing, too, that folks need to realize is the maintenance of the automobile, the insurance cost of insuring that particular automobile are all added to the monthly payments that they may get from the dealer. Talking with James Bell, Head of Consumer Affairs for General Motors. James, always great to have you in the house here at Bobby Likis Car Clinic, a website where our Car Clinic listeners and viewers might get more information.
I suggest going to gm.com. In fact, if I got a moment, I'd love to tell your listeners about something called shopclickdrive.com.
Oh, cool.
ShopClickDrive is a service where we can now give somebody who's interested in a GM vehicle basically a computer connection, if you will, or window into their local dealership. See what their inventory is, see what the pricing is on the vehicles. Really, I mean, if you wanted to go through and buy the vehicle completely online and have it delivered to you by your local GM dealer, that could be done. And we really see that as being a great way for people to have another look at the car industry and do it in a way that is really comfortable from your kitchen table, rather than for many people that uncomfortable walk into a dealership.
That makes a lot of sense. So that's shopclickdrive.com, all one word, right?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
James Bell, Head of Consumer Affairs. James, always a pleasure to have you join us on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Bobby. Look forward to doing it again.
And, you know, folks, what was really strange about that to me, not strange, but in listening to James, and he had great information he shared with us this morning, was the fact he talked about the dealers and not necessarily pro-dealer. I mean, this was a pro-educational. And just for you to know, we've had James on the program before, and his job as head of consumer affairs for General Motors, as I understand it, just from talking with this gentleman, is sort of a liaison between you and corporate. And I asked him the first time that I ever actually had him on the program, invited him on the program a couple of years ago when he first took that position. And this was a new position that General Motors created. I said, well, so let me understand. You talk with the people on the street, the man on the street. Yeah, he said, I do that. I do that through your program and going to car shows and what have you. I said, so then when you go to the Ren Center, who do you talk with? He said, I go in the boardroom. And I talk with the executives. I talk with the president of the company and the global managers, and so that there'll be a connection. And I said, so you're telling me they actually listen to what you have to say? He said, absolutely. It's not the way it was years ago because manufacturers are trying to understand better what we want. And I like that. Mark, I'm going to go to Mark's call and take his call because he's holding, but I still have some questions about the buy and the lease. And that was one of the reasons that I asked him that question. Is it better to buy or is it better to lease? And then he talked about the parking lot dings and what have you. But I'll come back to that in just a minute. But let's go to Kansas and take Mark's question. Mark, thanks for holding. Appreciate it. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Oh, thank you for taking me. We got an 06 6.0 F350 diesel that it started up fine. And I started to go forward, and it died like it ain't getting no fuel. We were wondering any diesel be over. We got the filters all changed, but it still acts like it ain't getting no fuel.
My initial, just off the top of my educated head, would be a sub pump, and that pump is on the engine. And there are two different kinds, and I'll share this with you. We had a very similar problem, and it was the fuel pump. It was a sub pump, and that pump, the way it's mounted on the engine, has a lever, and one of our callers, maybe last year sometime, but I'll never forget this because the gentleman bought a pump and took the old one out, and the arm that activates the pump was not the same. So he said, it's wrong. So he bought it from a parts store, and he took it back. I think it was O'Reilly Auto Parts because I recommend O'Reilly Auto Parts, and it was the wrong one. So he went to the Ford dealer and he got his pump, and it was the wrong part because it didn't look like the arm that came out of his vehicle that drove the pump. Come to find out, he had an 06 vehicle, or an 07, as memory serves me, but his VIN number showed that the engine that was in his 06 was an 05, or it was an 06 and an 07, and not only was O'Reilly Auto Parts correct and the dealer was correct, it was his engine that was a different year that was in the engine. I share this with you because I sincerely believe you have the sub pump, and I think that's what's wrong with it. At least I would definitely check to see if there's fuel coming out of that pump. And when you pull that pump and you buy one, don't just pull the pump. Take the pump with you, wrap it in a bag or something, and take it with you and compare what it looks like to make sure you get the right one, because there's a manufacturing line break in that particular part. Hey, thanks for calling from Kansas, and folks, I'll take your call at 888 Car Clinic when I come back. This mailbag is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. Stephen in Oregon writes, Bobby, I'm planning to give a K&N intake to my son for his Christmas present. But I'm a little concerned that even though he's able to do some work on his 96 Chevrolet truck, this might be a little over his head. What do you think? I hear you talk about K&N all the time. That's why I made the purchase. Am I worrying for nothing? Stephen, great gift to give your son. He'll really enjoy the K&N high-performance air intake for years to come, and his Chevrolet truck will love the increased horsepower, torque, and acceleration. I understand your concern, but it's really nothing to worry about. K&N provides excellent instructions, and right in the beginning, the installation guide tells you what tools you'll need. Many of the kits have installation videos available on K&N's website, knfilters.com. But you can always call K&N and have any questions answered by the customer service team. They're the best in the industry. For all the details, visit knfilters.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bob, what's new? Last night I get in my truck, and in the back seat is one of those supermodels. Says she always wanted to meet a man who owned a sauerkraut factory. We're eating sauerkraut. She's wiping juice off my chin. I get heartburn. I pull out my Rolaids, and in under 10 seconds, it starts working. Then she's gone, and so's my heart.
Rolade starts working in under 10 seconds? You expect me to believe that?
It's true. Rolade starts neutralizing acid in under 10 seconds. ROLAIDS spells relief. Use as directed.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Now, I'm not a financial wizard or anything, so when I needed a more to LendingTree, I filled out one simple form, banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. Maybe I am a wizard after all.
Visit LendingTree.com or call 1-800-555-TREE. That's 1-800-555-TREE. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
And now for the bonus round. If Rome wasn't built in a day, how long did it take?
3 business days. Oh, plus 1 Saturday.
Correct. Oh. A good man is hard to find. Why?
Because he's so small.
Correct. Netflix delivers movies by mail, and now what other way?
Directly to your TV.
Correct! Netflix now delivers movies 2 ways, instantly to your TV, plus DVDs by mail. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix! See terms of use.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Bob Glenn.
My idea of a Starbucks experience is the sense of community. I love people, and what working at Starbucks has allowed me to do is get involved in people's lives more directly. What I think is so great about Starbucks coffee being available in the grocery store now is that Starbucks selects the coffee, roasts the coffee, packages the coffee to enjoy it, and not just to enjoy it necessarily by yourself, but really to enjoy it with other people.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee. At grocery, at home, at last.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. This is the first of 2 hours. It will be the last edition that you will hear for 2014. So as we go along, I want to wish you a happy new year and a safe new year. And I want to share with you, if you were tuned in just now, you heard James, head of consumer affairs for General Motors, talking about leasing or purchasing your new car. And I have gone both ways there a couple of times. I've leased twice. The first time I got out of the lease early because I quite candidly was bored with the car. It was a beautiful car, perfect. It did everything it was supposed to do. But I was bored with it, and I had to pay to get out of the lease. And yes, I leased the car so I could get a cheaper payment, but on the other end, it cost me. So I really don't know if you're a general manager of a dealership or an F&I person, call in and have a friendly conversation and discussion and help educate our Car Clinic listeners. Feel free to do so. I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts, and I'll share with you exactly what I've done, because I am currently driving, the car that I'm currently driving is a leased automobile. And I thought about that when I asked James those questions, and also thought about the fact that he talked, well, if you park it and you get door dings and you have carry a dog around and the car is pretty well beat up, and you go to trade and you drive 15,000 miles a year, when you go to turn that car back in, it's going to cost you, because there's limited miles per year. And that's true. I put my mileage at 10,000 miles per year, and my car just turned 20,500, and I'm 25 months into the car. So my mileage is right on. I actually drive a little under 10,000 miles a year with my car. I change the oil at average at 7,000 miles on this vehicle, and it holds 8 quarts of oil. So and we had earlier, if you heard James talking about his oil, he had a vehicle that held 3.5 quarts of oil. So you got to think, what about the temperature of the engine and the oils, and what about the load on the oil? And you also have to remember that the the volume of oil really has a lot to do with how healthy the oil stays. Because, if you contaminate 8 quarts of oil, it takes a lot more to contaminate 8 quarts than it does to contaminate 3.5 quarts. So I would agree with James, who was a little nervous about running, 10, 12,000 miles on 3.5 quarts of oil. I don't know what your car holds, but it's very interesting. Back to the leasing and the buying, and let me give the number for you. It's 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Kim will take your call and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. The question is to lease or to buy a new car. And no trick question, because there's no one pat answer for all. My financial advisor, who is godsend, and she is absolutely phenomenal, asked me when I was going to lease the car and made that decision. She said, "Well, Bobby, do you plan to keep this car?" And I said, "Yes, I plan to keep it for 3 years." And so to that end is why I leased the automobile. And she said, "Well, you would actually save money if you bought the car." And I said, "Well, if I buy the car, then I end up at the end of 3, 4, 5 years with another car. And I already have 4 cars, so I really don't want to own another car." And I really didn't, folks. And then there was also another, and this has nothing to do with finances, and I think so many of us, like James was talking about, what car do you buy? You buy an SUV with 7-seat 7-seat capacity because you're going to pick up the family at the airport 2 times a year. But every day you drive alone. And it's truer words were never spoken. Even I'm guilty of that. I drive my car alone most of the time. But I love it when I take friends in the car, because it's nice, and I enjoy showing them the screens that I have and the leathers in the car and those sorts of things. So, and I have another smaller car. It's a bear of a car. It's a Viper, and so I have 2 different types of cars, even the smart car. And yeah, I know a lot of you think, well, that's unsafe and what have you, but actually it's not. It has a Tritium NASCAR design roll cage. And it's very safe. It has a 5-star rating on the passenger side. It has, I think, a 4-star on the passenger side, 5-star on the driver's side. And I'll tell you, it's a well-made automobile. And just for your information, the smart car was originally conceived by a gentleman that made Swatch watches. If you remember the Swatch watch, where you could change the bezel and change the band, and it would be a look of a different watch. And went to Mercedes, and he said, "Would you build me a car? I want to build a little car, and I want to be able to take the panels off the car and exchange them for different colors." So if you bought a yellow car with a gray Tritium cell, which is the gray metal part surround that stays as the car, and you can have those black or gray, and you want a yellow car and you want to make it red, you just change the body panels in a couple of hours. And so Mercedes says, "Well, we'll build it for you." So the S is for Swatch, the M is for Mercedes, and the ART in smart is for art. And that's where the name came from, smart. And I think a couple of years into the manufacturing of that car, Mercedes bought out Swatch, and I don't know what his name was. Certainly easy to find on the internet. But the bottom line is, that car hasn't done well in the United States, because I think we're all afraid, a lot of us are afraid of the size of the car. Oh, if you get hit by an SUV, you're going to die. Well, if you're in an SUV and you get hit by a train, you're going to die. So, I mean, it's really? And the bottom line, that's really not the case, because the way the smart car is constructed, it sounds like commercial for smart cars. It's really not, but it's the truth about the vehicle. And if you drive a smart car, you'll know. Now, the transmission's funky. I can tell you, it really is. That's the weak point of the car, is the transmission. Not that it breaks, but it's just it's the oddity of the automobile, and I think every car has its own little idiosyncrasies. But getting back to the lease or purchase, I'd be most interested to hear from a salesman out there who's tuned in. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. What your advice is as to whether you should lease a car or whether you should buy the car. So again, just to bring closure and then move on, take other calls. I leased mine not for all the right reasons at all. For no reason. I leased it because in 3 years, and it's a 2013, that I spent several months specking out and had this car made to my specs. I wanted to be able, at the end of the 3rd year, which will be November of next year, opt for the purchase of the car. Because, see, I've already got the car sold. It's a lease car, so it's already sold. I just say, thank you, here's the car, and turn the keys over, and I'm done. And I've paid for each use of this vehicle along the way. So, yeah, paid dearly, yeah, probably so, but I really enjoyed this car, In fact, because they've discontinued the exterior color, at least for the time being, and because they're not going to change, this is Tata Motors, they're not going to change the body until 2018, and my vehicle, the lease is up at 16, I may end up keeping this car because the car is as new, and there are no body dings. It's never had, knock on wood, it's never had a door ding put on the car. And so as a result, I keep my cars as new. And so what that does for me, and getting back to the root reason that I chose to lease, is because at the end of 3 years, I want to be able to enjoy the latest technology, because I know that while my car will still be beautiful, the technology will be far advanced from where I am today. And to that end, if you've never driven a car with a heads-up display, you would probably, or with adaptive radar cruise control, you would probably say, oh, I don't really need that. And I will tell you, take it from me, and I didn't buy, that's the only option, the only single option I didn't buy on this car or have added to it was the adaptive radar control, because I figured that I just wouldn't be comfortable following another car down the interstate. I just didn't figure that I would be comfortable. That's not true. It's not correct. And I only learned that after driving a Kia K900 that was sent to me from the vice president of sales for Kia. And Michael sent me that car, and he's Michael Sprague, who is a vice president. We interviewed him, and I said, I'd like to drive one of those. Oh, I'll send you one, he says. Well, and he did. So I drove Kia K900 for a week. And in fact, I took it on a trip to Louisiana and back. And it had the adaptive cruise control, and I found myself finding a car that was going the pace that I wanted to go. And I would put my cruise on, say, 79, and that car would run 75 or 62 or 70 or whatever. And as that car slowed, my car would slow, but it kept the same distance between our cars. And I could set that distance. You know, there were like a 4 ladder bar. Think of a ladder with the side rails and the rungs of the ladder. Well, on the dash and on the heads-up display this vehicle had, you can push a button on the steering wheel, and you'll have 1, 2, 3, or 4 different rungs. And of course, the 4, when you have 4, you're the farthest distance from the car in front, and that's where I stayed, because I wasn't really sure of would the brakes work on this vehicle. And to that end, I actually latched onto a vehicle and drove that car down one interstate, curved around onto another exchange interstate, pulled up to an exit, stopped, still following that same car, left that intersection when the light changed red, turned left, and followed that car down to another turn, followed the car down all the way to the back of my studio. And this is like, I'm going to give it some 6 miles of city and interstate driving and exchange driving. And folks, during that time, including when I pulled up to a stop behind my studio, I never touched the brake or the gas. Unbelievable. And I will tell you, it's a strange feeling coming to a stop, and the car that you're sitting in is coming to a stop, and I had my foot, I guess, an inch from the brake, just anxious and waiting. And I'll tell you, the car did come. So we think about autonomous cars. And by the way, Mercedes-Benz, just for you to know, has 2 autonomous cars. But guess who has 25 autonomous cars? Google. 25 of those vehicles. And we're going to see not cars that drive themselves. We're going to have to be in the car as a human being. But the safety factor that is involved, because how many eyes do you have? We don't have eyes in the back of our head. How fast can you react? How many different inputs can we accept at one time and react to at one time versus, say, a Google camera? And that's a LiDAR device, it's called. And you can Google LiDAR, and you'll see that's a technology that takes, I don't know how many thousand views per second, and inputs that to a computer. And of course, then it's easy to say, well, yeah, but what if the computer fails? What if it crashes? And those are all things that, there has to be redundance there. But the bottom line, when you look at I would fast forward 20 years, cut that in half, fast forward 10 years, and look at the cars that are autonomous and look at the lives that those cars saved because of the safety factor that technology brings to the cars you and I drive. It's not about cars that are going to take me to the airport and you just sit over there and it takes you to the... It's not about that at all. It's about the fact that we have the technology that we're using to design and build cars that can do that will enable us to be safer, more secure drivers. And if you don't believe that, you're not up with the times. If you don't believe that, you don't understand the technology and what cars can really do. That's what's really exciting to me. To that end, that's why I figured in 3 years I'd be done. I figured in 3 years my car would be. And so what is it about my car that I feel is going to be old-fashioned in 3 years? It's a 2013 model, so now it's going to be one more year. It'll be 3 years. It'll be 3. What's going to be? It's the number one, the voice command for the telephone and navigation system is certainly not user-friendly, especially compared to my iPhone that I can say, find a grocery store around me. And it does. And if you say that to the car, the car comes up with a lot of weird jargon, but it's not anything I can understand. So that's an improvement. The touch screen, they're going to improve on that. And so there's a lot of improvements coming forward that we're going to see on new cars. And as Mr. Bell said from General Motors, take a look around, whether it's Ford, GM, Chrysler, Mercedes-Benz, your choice. Take a look at the dealerships and kind of, take a browse around, look at inside the dealerships. And for you salesmen, leave them alone. If they're just looking, let them look, and offer them those brochures. I love brochures. And another thing too, folks, as from GM said, look, you can go online and you can decide what car you're going to buy. And the address for that was shopclickdrive.com by General Motors. And with that, I'm closing the first of 2 hours of Likis' last show for 2014. See you next week.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Fortune 500 company Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com. I'm Bob. Calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Myth is that ethanol production dramatically increases food prices. Fact is that experts from the USDA, World Bank, academia, and independent consultants all note that a complex range of factors influence food prices, including supply chain costs, weather, and oil prices. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, spank my bottom and call me polyethylene. I'm recyclable. Hi, Tom Bodette for Motel 6. In the spirit of conservation, this commercial uses 100% recycled words. Yep, just like water bottles, garbanzo beans. 160 odd words in this commercial before to describe Motel 6, like clean, comfortable, and lowest price of any national chain. That was a whole six-pack I just recycled there. I figure why make new words when those work just fine? So I can tell you what a great value Motel 6 always has been and still is without contributing to a verbal landfill or increasing my jargon footprint. I see it as doing our part of our precious verbal resources, and that feels pretty good. Almost as good as saving money. I bet this will sound familiar too. I'm Tom Bodette for and we'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com.
In a movie, you have one chance to make something happen and to happen right. Bring it bigger, better than it's been seen before. I've been a working stuntman for 25 years now. Definitely not about glory or showing off. It's about making the impossible possible. I'm third generation in the business. Started with my grandfather. Dad got involved in it. I've been in 115 movies. Period movies are awesome. Last of the Mohicans was a great adventure with my family, with my dad and brothers. There's those crazy-ass blockbusters that everybody loves to be on, where it's just over to the moon, you know, bigger than life. Funnest movies, for sure, would be Waterworld. 50 of my best stunt buddies in Hawaii, wrecking stuff every day on the water. Obviously, car work is the ultimate. The whole goal was to go as fast as we can. On the movie set, there's generally probably 150 to 200 people that are your working crew. You got to manage where everybody's at all times. Making sure we have communications dialed in between our assistant director, our players, our stunt personnel that are working around.
What do we need to do to extend this to
On Need for Speed, there was a huge car crash that we were going to do that was, kind of a turning point in the movie. Something that, you need to be going 200 miles an hour to do for real. Our director wanted to, obviously he wanted everything to be done practical, but he felt that the look of this particular wreck that he could do might have to happen in a CG environment. Came up with an idea of pushing the vehicle sideways, profile, and hitting these huge pipe ramps. For real. He kind of said, really? All right, well, show me. I then, as the coordinator, said, okay, let's do this. I know we can do it. I know it's totally possible. Your raw skill is going to get you through it, but at a certain point, you're going to need that extra moment of practice to pull you through it consistently.
Okay, let's go ahead and start pulling this back, please. All right, Troy, here we go. I'm going to start pushing. So you set? Yeah, action, Troy.
I had all the confidence in the world. The director had it all the confidence in the world, and we came in and we nailed it. It was awesome. Lance Gilbert, stunt coordinator, action designer. In a movie, you have one chance to make something happen and to happen right. Bring it bigger, better than it's been seen before. I've been a working stuntman for 25 years now. Definitely not about glory or showing off. It's about making the impossible possible. I'm third generation in the business. Started with my grandfather, then my dad got involved in it. I've been in 115 movies. Period movies are awesome. Last of the Mohicans was a great adventure with my family, with my dad and brothers.
This would be our final hour for 2014, and I was just reflecting there before I came on the air, and I did some math. I've never done this before, but specifically on Car Clinic Radio, Bobby Likis Car Clinic Radio. Nothing to do with television or other appearances and or programs that we have produced, but just right here, mostly from within this studio and from different radio stations prior to building our own Car Clinic studio within our service shop for the 23 years. We have and are still airing on WNDB 1150 News Talk in Daytona Beach, Florida, which was one of our first inaugural stations. It wasn't our inaugural station. We had 4 stations in 2 states. But just for what it's worth, this would be our 2042nd broadcast. That's a lot of broadcasts. That's 23 years, 2 hours per Saturday, 104 a year times 23 years, and we started in 91 on radio. Started television before that. So it's with special interest that I welcome you, and if you'd like to call and say hello or reflect on something, the history that you have, maybe with your car, feel free to do so. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Royal Purple, my choice for all synthetic oils and lubricants. Royal Purple, consumer.com. Your calls when I come back. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Fact or Friction, brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance lubricants that Fact or friction? Additive packages are key in synthetic oil quality. Fact. Of a quart of synthetic oil, 15 to 25% is its total additive package, including anti-wear agents, detergents, dispersants, and antioxidants. An oil's additive package does the heavy lifting, and ultimately its lubrication factor, friction and heat reduction, and ability to rev up performance are measures of an additive package's quality. Royal Purple's proprietary Centerlec technology was developed over years of rigorous testing and real-world use. Fact is, Royal Purple solved a vibration problem with the China Star 125-mile-per-hour bullet train. Oil for your vehicle, consider Royal Purple High Performance Motor Oil. Visit Royal.com for all the Royal Purple advantages, then pick up Royal Purple today at Pep Boys.
O'Reilly. Don't waste time and money this holiday season driving all over town in search of the perfect gift. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and purchase. They're available for any amount. Any O'Reilly Auto Parts store or online at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly gift cards take the guesswork out of Christmas and make the perfect stocking stuffers. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
How can you improve battery performance? Power frame grid technology, a more advanced kind of positive grid technology designed to combat the common causes of premature battery failure. Power frame grid technology is formed from a single sheet of precisely rolled and stamped metal. This patented manufacturing process makes the battery more resistant. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
First rule of business: hard work equals success. That's why Geico is consistently rated excellent or better in terms of financial strength. Second rule: don't steal a co-worker's egg salad, especially if it's marked the gecko. Come on, people. Geico's the third largest car insurance company in the nation, but it's not like we're kicking back now having a cup of tea. To become that big? Of course, geckos don't literally sweat. It's just not our thing. But I do work hard, mind you.
Home. It's the place you like to make warm and inviting. What could be more welcoming than the aroma of fresh coffee brewing? When the coffee is Starbucks, the experience only gets richer. Find Starbucks coffee at your grocery store so you can enjoy it at home. Its distinctive roasting style and rich, authentic taste show how seriously we pursue the art of coffee. Savor its aroma, then pour a cup and invite your senses to take flight. Starbucks coffee at your grocery store.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started on this final hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic for 2014. I hope you had a great year. Seriously, I hope that, number one, your health was terrific. Number two, I hope that overall you had great experiences in automotive service shops when you took your car in. And number three, which really should go back to number one, I hope that if you are along the Gulf Coast and you happen to be into Bobby Likis Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair, that you enjoyed your experience there. And again, I hope that you understand what it takes to, and nobody can really, unless you're in the business, can understand what it takes to make a car run and to keep it running. But I can tell you it's a concerted effort. And it's a partnership. It's a relationship between you and your service provider. And that's really important because not all service providers are going to be able to satisfy you and fix all problems with your car all the time. It's just, there's no way. And Bill Cosby said it best, there's no one sure way to ensure success. But there is one sure way to ensure failure, and that's to try to please everyone all the time or to be all things to all people. So you have to know when to hold them, when to fold them. Do you take your car to an independent service shop, or do you go to a dealership? Do you go to a chain store? Well, it depends. Depends, number one, on the needs of your particular item in your car, and it also depends on the relationship that you have with your service shop. So I'm here to answer your questions. This will be the last call-in program for the year. And I wish you a happy new year before I get off on calls. And I see that Mitty's calling, so we're going to take Mitty's call. But first, I want to reach out to our Hobbs, New Mexico, Bobby Likis Car Clinic affiliate, KYKK, 1110 AM, Al Lobeck. General Manager and Program Director there for Car Clinic affiliate in Hobbs, New Mexico, KYKK 1110 AM. Happy New Year to everyone in New Mexico and tuned in to KYKK. Let me hear from you at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Let's take a call from Mitty. Mitty, so you've got an 08 CTS. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us.
Thank you so much.
What can I do for you?
Well, I had my oil changed a couple of weeks ago, and I take it to Firestone. They're good, you know.
Good.
And I use the synthetic oil, which they do. But ever since I've had my oil changed, I've had a real caustic fume smell come up through the hood. And I took it down, and they checked it out, and they said there's nothing wrong with my car. They put it on the lift.
Mm-hmm.
And they were unable to determine what was causing the fumes, the caustic smell that was coming through to the inside.
Well, would you say it was and think about this, there's two different smells, well, there's many different smells, but two specifically. One is an oil burn smell, like if oil was spilled, or if oil, sometimes when you change oil filters, and the manufacturers, and I'm not throwing darts at manufacturers, but the place that they put oil filters, for example, my car has an oil filter on the top of the engine. So if you take that filter out, it will get oil on the engine. So you have to drain the oil, you have to loosen the filter, and then drain the oil from the bottom and let the oil filter housing drain out. It takes a cartridge, drain out, and then when you pick up the filter, you're literally, it's like holding a glass, if you will, upside down that's filled with oil, and lifting the glass out of the oil or out of the chamber, expecting it not to spill. So you really have to be careful and take care of there. So I said all that to say that there can be from time to time oil that spilled during oil changes. We use pressurized bottles with a cleaning a solution that has no odor and goes away. But even on occasion, you'll smell some new oil change. Now, having said all that, there's also nothing like the odor of raw gasoline. So can you tell me if it's an oil burn smell or if it's a raw gasoline odor?
It would be very difficult for me to determine that factor.
I understand, yeah.
Gas, I don't think it's gas. I feel in my heart that it's oil for some reason.
Well, why don't you get a second opinion? Another shop look at it, and there's one thing for sure. On your CTS Cadillac, just like on my car, the manufacturers put engine covers. I mean, if you open a hood of a car, they're really quite beautiful under the hood. And I'm not saying that as a car lover, which I am, but I'm saying it because they have these covers that cover the battery, the engine cover, the front grill area, the radiator, that's called a core support. And literally, you don't really see much under the hood, or at least you can't find much because it's all covered. And a lot of that has to do with the aesthetics, but also a lot of it has to do with quietening of the engine because those covers have padding. My car has padding below. It has literally I don't know what it's made of, but it has like a vinyl diaper that is attached to a belly pan that is bolted on the underside of the car. And in order to get to the engine, you have to unbolt that belly pan and drop it down. That's common of a car. And so I would say to you, if you smell something and see, it's your nose, it's your car, you're more familiar with it than I would be and than they. And so if there's something that wasn't there before. So I say get a second opinion and just, call a local shop and say, I want you to ride with me. Can you smell it in the car or you have to be under the hood?
I smell it in the car, and usually it's after I've driven for a little bit. It doesn't necessarily occur right at the moment when I start the car.
I got you. So therefore, it leads me to believe there's oil that is dripping down on an exhaust. And it could be something so simple as the little O-ring where the filler cap the seal is not doing its job, or maybe the filler cap is not. Now, you took it back, so they obviously checked those things. But it could be a valve cover, cam cover. It could be a minor leak. But I will tell you, it is something. You are right, and you should get another opinion because you know your car. And I'm the same way. I've got a nose. I can smell. I was walking to lunch after last week's program and was walking toward the restaurant at downtown. And a gentleman leaned out his window and said, "Bobby," and I didn't know this person. I walked over there, and he recognized me. And I walked up to his car, and he was sitting there with his daughter in his car, and he asked me if I still had this Viper because he was thinking about getting a Viper and if I still liked it. And the first words out of my mouth is, "You've got an oil leak."
Oh.
And he was on the curb, and I was on the sidewalk, and he says. And his daughter looked at me like, "How'd you know that?" And he said, "Yeah, I got to get it fixed." And I didn't mean to embarrass him, but I couldn't help it. But the bottom line is, and I did give accolades to the Viper, I could smell it. So you go get a second opinion. You got it?
Yes, I got it. It could be an O-ring. It could be a valve cover.
It could be, yeah. But the bottom line is, you got an odor that wasn't there before you had an oil change. You didn't notice it, but that doesn't mean, and it could have nothing to do with the oil change, but the bottom line is there's something that's there that should not be there, and you know the car better than anyone because it's your car, you drive it. So that's what you have. It's not that you have to be a technician or mechanically inclined. I talk much about using the senses, the smell, the sight. Look under your car for drippings. Listen for strange noises, feel for vibrations in the brakes, and you could blindfold me and I could ride in the car, but I'm more experienced than, been in the business a long time. So in that respect, I should be able to feel and hear, but you can too because you know your automobile and you know when it does things that it didn't used to do, and you know that it shouldn't do that. So you course, you got it.
I want to ask you one question.
Sure.
You did state that the cars have like a plastic cover on them.
Yes.
Does the CTS have one of those?
Yes, it does. You have to pull it off. Pull it.
You have to pull that off.
Yeah, but it's easy. It pops right off. It's not
Sure.
two bolts or two. It's easy. It's just it's there to stop the noise, so you don't hear the noisy timing chains and injectors going clickety 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 all the time. That's what that's for, and for aesthetics as well. So I want them to. Why don't you go back? We'll go back to Firestone, and say, "Hey guys, would you pop that cover off and let's look under that cover and make sure that I don't have because I've got a smell that just isn't right." And I mean, you've got a rapport with these folks, so go back. You got it.
Oh, got it.
Okay.
All right.
Let me know.
Thank you very much.
Call
Mr.
me
Likis.
Call me back next year, will you?
I will. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I see that the phones are filled. We've got Stan and Jack, and also a gentleman, Wes Reno. He's actually editor of Auto Week, and he's on the hotline with us, and we're going to discuss this year's Best of the Best truck competition. You want to hear this, so you stay right there, and I'll be back after this commercial break. I'm Bobby Likis. 2014 in coming up. Likis, you'll love us. Don't let old man winter keep you indoors this season. Let General's Ultimax Arctic make anywhere possible, no matter the weather. The Ultimax Arctic features unique grooves and sipes, maximizing snow, ice, and all directions. While its modern compound offers outstanding performance in low temperatures, it's the perfect tire to get you where you need to go this winter. Tweet us photos of your winter adventures at General Tire. Anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
My car's a sauna. What's with this air conditioning?
You need a pro.
Know any?
Yeah, you.
You got me confused with somebody else.
You're a pro with new do-it-yourself AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
But
You know where to find the hood?
That thing up front?
Exactly. AC Pro's easy, fast, and saves you money. You'll have your car's AC blowing cold air in minutes.
I did it! It's like a freezer in here.
Be a pro with new AC Pro. Cold air solution.
Got a sweater?
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Engine Care Spotlight, brought to you by CRC Industries, makers of Brake Clean. Driven any new cars lately? Stunning, with beautiful lines and handsome fit and finish. Today's vehicles also produce lower emissions, good for the environment. The key is recirculating exhaust gas, but this can generate harmful carbon deposits when untreated, can lead to pinging, lower MPG, and power loss. CRC Top Engine Cleaner is designed to remove harmful engine deposits that cause performance problems like pinging or knocking, decreased gas mileage, rough idling, and power loss. Using the attached extension tube, simply spray an entire can of CRC Top Engine Cleaner directly into the throttle body with engine idling at 2,000 RPM. Turn off the engine, let soak for 20 minutes, then restart. The vehicle will dispel white smoke from the exhaust. Drive until the smoke disappears. Find more automotive maintenance solutions at crcindustries.com or find them on Facebook at CRC Auto.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Live from Progressive.
Flo here. Today we're talking to
Newlyweds.
Hi, my husband and I are combining our policies, and my mother-in-law says we can save with Progressive.
Well, with online, homeowners, and multi-car discounts, saving on car insurance is easy.
So you're saying she's right?
I'm saying get used to it.
Savings and more at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Mayfield Village, Ohio. Discounts not available in all states. Prices vary based on how you buy.
It's a fact. 1 in every 10 used cars has a major problem. By major, I mean major. Caught fire, burned to a crisp, rebuilt and put up for sale. Happens every day. Make sure you're not the poor slob that buys this piece of crud. Get a vehicle history report from Carfax.com. They'll give you the real history on any used car. Carfax.com. Or ask your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a car without Carfax.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your hosts, Bobby Likis.
Welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great show today. Call with your questions at 888 Car Clinic. Auto Week magazine's out with the publication's annual Best of the Best Awards for 2015. And joining us now is Wes Raynal, editor of Auto Week, to discuss this year's Best of the Best truck competition for 2015. Welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Wes, glad to have you in the house.
Thanks for having me.
Let's share with our Car Clinic listeners and viewers a little bit about this year's competition before we discuss the winner.
All right. As we do every year, we drove every new truck and car we could get our hands on throughout the course of the year, and as the year progresses, we try to wheedle that list down till sort of like middle of October. We get down to 4 finalists in each, 4 cars, 4 trucks. We take those out to Michigan International Speedway for a couple of days and test them on the road, on the track, on the freeway, and then we pick winners. We vote and pick winners. We look at ride, handling, quality, styling, value, that kind of thing.
We're talking with Wes Raynal, editor of Auto Week. This year's Best of the Best truck, and let's go right straight to the heart of the matter. Who won the prize?
This year is the GMC Canyon. It's a new truck for 2015 and sort of a revisited segment. It's a mid-sized truck, somewhere like in between a full-size truck and a little truck. So it's revisited territory. A lot of automakers had them 25 years ago, but very few have them now. So it'll be a huge hit in my opinion.
Wes, you know, gas prices are down currently. Now, we know that won't last forever, but within your publication and your team and your staff, do you see the public favoring larger, smaller, medium size? I know this is the medium-sized truck, but what's your crystal ball say with regard to the sales of the small, medium, or large trucks?
My personal opinion is the pickup truck is sort of a unique animal in that if you, as a consumer, need a pickup truck, you're going to go get a pickup truck regardless of what gas prices do. I think that affects much more small cars than it does pickup trucks. A lot of trucks are used for work, and a lot of trucks are used by people that can afford them as a style statement. kids all over the country are driving them. So I don't know that gas prices affect pickups as much as it does small to medium-sized cars.
I couldn't agree with you. I think the rise in the popularity, that personalization of a vehicle and to drive what you like, and even the color choice has always been part of the selection process. Interestingly enough, I'm curious as to how performance plays a part in the selection with your team of the best of the truck.
I mean, we do look at it through the eye of the enthusiast always, but I would probably confess to you that it is less so with the truck side than it is with the car side. But if we don't like to drive it, no matter what, you know, if it's
Yeah.
four wheels or none, if we don't like to drive it, it's not going to rise to the top. So even with the trucks, if it's not fun to drive through the lens of it being a truck, it's not going to sort of rise to the top. So the Canyon is very car-like, and I think that is going to appeal to a big segment of buyers that have never looked at a pickup truck before.
I think you make a good point. When I drive a truck, and I drive lots of different vehicles on the service side of our Car Clinic network and Car Clinic service, to me, some trucks drive like trucks, and then some, they drive almost like automobiles, except they're a little more sturdy, but just that feeling of solidarity. Hey, I want to thank you again for joining us on Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and also I'd like to have for our listeners and viewers a website so they can go online and take a look at best of the best for the truck for Auto Week.
People can go to autoweek.com and check it out, and our Twitter is at AutoWeekUSA.
Wes Raynol, editor of Auto Week, and his team are car gurus, no doubt. Wes, glad to have you back with Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Have a great holiday season, sir.
Thanks. You too. Call anytime.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. He talked about and I guess I agree. He said that the gas prices really don't affect truck buyers, and to that end, I know that to be true specifically with diesel truck buyers. I have. For instance, the F-250, I've got several customers that have the F-250 diesel, and they're huge trucks. And I drove one recently. A gentleman left one with us for the holidays, so we could service it while he was away on vacation. And the bottom line is I'm out there, and it'll jump on 80 miles an hour in a heartbeat. I was really surprised at how smooth it was, but it's big. And if you're not accustomed to driving a big truck, it feels really strange. I could not imagine driving a truck every day of the week. But so I agree with Wes Raynol, who was the editor of Auto Week, that truck buyers buy what their hearts want, and true what their work trucks. Then that's a little different. We'll take a call from Stan. Been waiting a while. Stan, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I appreciate joining you because I listen because I learn so much. I found it interesting that just as an aside for my main purpose, that the fellow that just talked from Auto Week said that the fuel mileage is not a primary consideration, but we have trucks that are now getting over 20 miles per gallon, and the really light one, the new Ford, was not their best. I thought that was rather interesting, although the Ford F-150 has been the best seller for, I don't know, half of forever, right?
Well, it has, Dan, and you have to wonder, and I would ask this of Wes right now. I've always wondered when I look at trade publications and Car and Driver, Road and Track. I mean, those are the favorites. Motor Trend, Car and Driver, Road and Track, and then Auto Week. And I subscribe to each and every one of those, and you, at one time, another 15 until I said I'm overwhelmed, and I cut way back. But the bottom line is, I've often wondered which car was chosen and how much advertising each one of those car makers did with that magazine, and how much that influenced all the team. And also the same thing could be true, of course, from a monetary standpoint. It's a nonprofit, and that would be consumer. And the reason I bring that up, and I don't know if that's what you called about, but it wasn't. You got leasing question is what came. But the bottom line is, I read years ago in reports where they slammed an Oldsmobile Grand Touring car. They slammed it, and that year, and 2 years before and 2 years afterwards, the difference between the Oldsmobile and the Buick was the grille and the chrome and the dash. I mean, and the badging. I mean, it's the same engine, transmission, identical. And to that end, I had a Buick in here the other day, van, and I needed a door pull and a door latch, and they didn't have one. Nationally, they didn't have one, but he gave me the part number, and I called the Chevy dealer, and I got the part for the Buick from the Chevy dealer because it's the same part number. So you got to wonder why, and I always wondered, and it's affected me, and I respect for Consumer Reports because they said, hey, the Oldsmobile's no good and the Buick Park Avenue is a fine automobile, and they were both one and the same cars. So either they happened to call a dozen people who had bad experiences, but it just doesn't stand. Does that make sense to you? I mean, really, you're a car guy.
Those remain.
Yeah.
And what they, I think that they are picking up their number of samples a lot, and so they're trying to self-correct. But I subscribe to those too, and I have the same concerns. The reason I called though was about leasing and buying, and you've already added a lot because you said you decided to lease for all the wrong reasons.
I did.
And that implies to me that you have some idea what the right reasons are. And I'd appreciate if you'd articulate some of those. I know it won't be an exhaustive list, but I knew that one time that if you had a company or some reason that you could write off your vehicle against your taxes, that was a good deal, and you ought to lease then.
Well, for me, it's probably easier because I'm hosting a national Car Talk program. So the icon for my vehicle would get a lot more prominence, and quite candidly, I've tested using my company vehicle, and yes, it is a company vehicle. So a portion of the cost of that vehicle I do write off, and then another portion that I use for my personal. And so, and when I enter that car in the car shows, when I take that car on remote broadcast where we go, when I take it for road testing, and in fact, I'm currently running. I didn't think about this, but I'm currently running a performance and mileage check with K&N filters because I put K&N dual filters in my Jag, and it has a 5-liter. And it gets 26.7 miles per gallon and 77 miles per hour average. And I know that because I've tested not one, not two, but 5 different trips in this vehicle of 450 miles each. So I know the exact gas mileage it gets. To that end, that wasn't the reason that I did lease it, although it helped me from a personal expense being able to put that car into a corporate, but I don't know. In the final scheme of things, the dollars that we spend on our car, and then when the car is paid for, whether we paid too much because we leased it or we didn't get as good of an interest as we could have, once the car is paid for, then that's where the return on the investment really comes in, if you take care of it. And if you remember what James Bell also said was talking about parking dings and garage dings.
Yes.
And that is, as I speak, non-existent on my vehicle, and it's 2 years old with 20,000 miles. And other than rock chips, which you cannot stop, although I don't follow trucks and I go out of my way when people get in left lanes in the center lane. You know how the center lane of a 5-lane road is always filled with debris, and some people that are going to turn left get in the middle lane a half a block early. I automatically veer to the right and go away from them, or I slow way down. So the point is this: when it comes to leasing, I lease this car. At the end of 3 years, it's already sold, and I have the option. It gives me the option to keep it. And my car, because of the special equipment on it, has a 52% residual, which is way higher than what, as I understand, the average. But since I didn't have any response from inviting an F&I person, and I still invite someone who is in that business to share their opinion, because there are a lot of car dealers right now that have specials going on the close of the year. So
yes.
it's really very interesting. What's your opinion of leasing and buying?
Well, I think that you articulated a couple. One of the things was the technology going crazy, and that the technology is one of the reasons that you want to get out of this car and into the next one.
Hold that thought. We're going to come back and finish our conversation and take more calls of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Don't touch your dial.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. Lime green and orange, not fashion shades, the color of car fluids on garage floors. Lime green says radiator coolant. Orange hints leaking transmission fluid. Catch these fluids on a newspaper and show them to your technician. This Drive Smarter tip is brought to you by Escort. Check out Escort's Drive into Summer event going on now through July 18. Don't just drive, drive smarter. Escort.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Place to use Visa. They giggle and jiggle, they jump and they sing, they poke and they play with most wondrous things. And that's just the parents. At Creative Kid Stuff in Minneapolis, you'll find the most enchanting toys and games for kids of all ages. But if you want to bring home their innovative playthings, you better bring your Visa card. Because at Creative Kid Stuff, child's imagination run wild, but you can't use American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
So, how about you and I getting together?
I don't know. I have to get up early.
Ma, I'm on the phone!
Oh, sorry, dear. You live at home?
Looking for a home? Click on to Realtor.com and search over 1.3 million current home listings. Plus, you can find useful information on schools, financing, even take virtual tours. And when you're ready, you can click and connect with a realtor.
Hello? Are you still there?
Yes, dear, I'm right here.
Realtor.com. It's the place to start when you start looking for a home.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million. That it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind a living, breathing person with a super full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this final edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic for 2014. I want to wish you a happy new year and a healthy new year. We're going to go back to the phones with Stan. We're talking about leasing and buying and purchasing and technology and what have you. But first, we just ended, if you'll reflect and think, Car Clinic's Fall into Free Fuel sweepstakes just in time for the holidays. And I'd like to congratulate the winners just one more time. Congrats to Cody Anderson from San Francisco, California, for winning the Escort Passport Max radar detector, to Grant Rademacher from outside Milwaukee, Wisconsin, for winning the Royal Purple Leather Lambskin Jacket, and to Jennifer Bolig from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, for winning the $250 Visa gift card, courtesy of the Renewable Fuels Association, the ethanol organization. And finally, Adam Stevenson from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for winning the $500 free gas cards from yours truly. And stay tuned, folks, because we'll have a brand new sweepstakes just after the holidays, just after the New Year's for 2015 coming up. Now, we'll go back to the phones. So, Stan, we're talking about gas mileage. We both agree that, and Wes Reynolds said it best from Motor Week, that Auto Week, that the bottom line is that people who buy trucks really don't care about the gas mileage. They want the truck. And I agree with that. Now, I don't know about the people that buy diesel trucks that really don't use them for work. They just like them because they're big trucks. And what really is wild is you pull up to a red light and have a diesel pull up next to you. It shakes the very earth that you're parked on.
It does. And I have a neighbor who's in a business where he has a Ford 250 diesel, and I know when he comes home. So
yeah, I hear you.
The thought about the technology, as we've seen it, the technologies that are in most of today's cars, I think, were actually spec'd and designed a couple of years ago as they were designing that part of the car. And I understand that that Cadillac now has decided that they're going to let their info system be upgraded through their OnStar, and that will be a feature that will allow them to redefine things and change things as they go along. Have you heard anything about upgraded technology from the dealer?
I have not, but I've recently seen where Jaguar, and this has not been released, but they have an HUD system, heads-up display.
Yeah.
And the heads-up display has when I say A-pillar, and folks, for you tuned in, the A-pillar is the part of the roof post that support the roof. If you're driving a car, that's the left front and right front A-pillar. That's the top, or the pillar that holds the top of the car. The B-pillar is, if you're in a four-door sedan, it's to your left. It's that behind the front door there, between the front and the rear door. That's called the B-pillar. So what Jaguar did, they put screens of some sort, I guess the wraparound bendable screens in the A-pillar and the B-pillar, and then there are cameras on the outside of the vehicle. And let's say that you're stopped at a traffic light and there's a car in front of you, and a pedestrian starts to walk between you and the car in front of you. That pedestrian, immediately the car will show the little triangle caution sign that whenever something is wrong, but it shows it on the windshield, and then you can actually see that person walk through the A-pillar. That makes the A-pillar transparent.
Wow.
And you see this person, and then as a person leaves the A-pillar, you can see some of the body of the person. In this particular picture, it's a person on a cell phone, and you can see the cell phone first, and then you can see the body of the person, the rest of the body, through the A-pillar. And then he walks across, and then driving down the road, if you feel that a car is passing you, you can look, and the car knows when you turn your head to look to the right, which I just did, and it makes the B-pillar transparent so you can see the car that's easing up on your right side and see the actual car through the A-pillar. Now, that's all cool, and I really do. I can't wait for that to happen. And especially having driven a car, Stan, with the HUD, the heads-up display. But here's something that's even cooler. There's a ghost car in front of you, and so rather than look at the screen on your navigation system, there's a car that appears to be, it's a HUD, so it's at the front of your hood, but it appears to be 2 car links out, and it says, "Follow me." And when you're looking for a direction, think about it in a foreign country, or, and you rented a car, and you've got a car, I want to go to whatever it is, the address. You put the address in, and there's a car in front of you, and you follow that car. It's just like, how many times have we all visited relatives, and we haven't seen them in a long time, and they come out to some main focal point, just as you exit the interstate, at 5, I'll pick you up there. And then you follow that person in, and in anticipation. And it makes it so much easier than go 2.3 miles, take a right, take another left, and all those sorts of things. So that's what excites me about technology, because we haven't seen the end of it. We're just seeing and I won't say we're just seeing the beginning of it, because we're pretty well into the technology, but I just love the new technology, and I truly believe that in my heart of hearts that as we see cars get more deeper into technology, those cars will be easier for us to repair. And that's really strange for me to say that, but I believe it, because the computers on all of these cars are talking with each other, and the crash avoidance, vehicle to vehicle. And so when you've got a car and you've got a problem and you plug in the professional, not a code reader. I'm not talking about a $35 tool that you could read the code. I'm talking about a real $5,000 unit that has subscription based, so it can be updated all the time through online. And that's what we use in our service shop. Those tools will allow us and our technicians to plug into your vehicle, and your vehicle will talk to us and give us a report on what happened. And to that end, I can tell you, and I've seen this as recently as yesterday at 4 o'clock, this car had 25 modules, and it had a bad thermostat. It's an Audi A4. Had a bad thermostat, and the computer says the engine temp is not within operating temperature, and the check engine light was on. And so we knew the thermostat wasn't doing its job. Of course, you got to take the alternator off and half the intake manifold to get to it. But nonetheless, it's a 3-hour job.
Ooh, yeah.
But the bottom line, that's the technology, and that's what I look forward to. And I'll tell you something else. From an age standpoint, it keeps me on my toes to stay abreast of the technology, and I applaud all of the whole industry that makes that happen. And Musk is doing a whale of a job with Tesla, and you well know that, and I think a lot of people do.
Well, thank you for visiting with me this morning. It's been enlightening, as usual.
Thank you.
I sometimes drive down the road and think, here's another thing I learned from Bobby and from his callers, and that's fun.
Fun. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, my friend.
Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year.
And folks, get social with me, like me on Facebook.com/Bobby Likis. That's Likis. Also, follow me on Twitter at Twitter.com/Bobby Likis. Pinterest.com, same. And new at Bobby Likis on Instagram. That's a cool app. I really, really love it. And watch me at youtube.com/Bobby Likis, now in full screen, true HD, 100% ad-free, and with the ability to rewind, pause, and add me on Google Plus straight from my YouTube channel. And you stay tuned each week for our social media giveaways, where we're planning to give some awesome prizes. Let's go to New Mexico, and take a call from Cliff. And if you're a listener to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, or if you're not, the gentleman that is on the phone is currently, he is a blind mechanic, and the only one that I've ever spoken with and haven't had the opportunity to meet, but he's made appearances on CNBC, ABC, CBS, and multiple television programs, and he's really, really done a great job, a significant job, and I applaud you, Cliff. I welcome you back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you, Bobby, and Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, let me turn my radio down. The lady you had online with you with an oil change problem?
Yes.
I was very concerned. I was sitting here listening. We've had this problem at the shop I've worked at before. It's come in a couple of times where it's exactly what she's saying, and they were saying the same thing.
Right.
You wouldn't smell oil when it would start cranking and running for a while, but you would smell it, say about 5 or 10 minutes later, they'd start smelling something coming through the vents.
Right.
This is the most overlooked thing that people have a problem with, especially sighted people, and they have a problem with oil filters. Why, I don't understand. But when you change an oil filter, you're supposed to check for a seal that could be left on that engine that was never checked.
Yes.
And so also, too, the oil filter may not also be tightened enough, snugged enough. They just might have stuck it on there and forgot to tighten it. That could also drip. We've seen that happen. And all these little simple things about cars that cost so much less than just still going into the big things. To me, it's just minor things. But my hands are like eyes, and I feel everything around from liquids. And I know oil is very toxic, and I've taken a chemical class in automotive. And you don't want kids in the car if you've got oil fumes coming through your vents and you aspirate everybody. And so that's a serious problem. So I hope she's listening still and has that checked, and have them check it to see if that oil filter is either tightened or if there's another seal that was never taken off, and because it won't seal, it will leak, it will drip actually. We've seen it just drip. And it will go onto the manifold system, and that's where your odor will come through the vent.
Exactly. You and I are on the same page.
Easy fix.
Absolutely. You and I are on the same page. Now, to my understanding, and after spending some time with her, Cliff,
yes.
She did go back and they rechecked it. But then after talking with her and encouraging her to get another opinion, I decided after talking with her that she should go back again and have them to take that engine cover off and to take a closer look. And to that end, I want to make a statement here that I'd love your opinion. In our industry, there are Class A, B, and C repairs, and that refers to the technology level of the technician that is doing the repairs. Now you can't start out being an A technician, an A mechanic. You have to be an apprentice, and in Germany you have to be an apprentice for 12 years before you can be a technician. You say, "Oh yeah, that's right." Well, we need to take lessons from the Germans, and because indeed we have oil changers, and folks, you know, this is just from a shop owner and from someone that cares about customers and cares about the cars, which is our patient. It's important for you to know that the oil change level of pay differs greatly from the ASE certified technician, diagnostician surgeon level of pay. And to that end, here's the challenge. And Cliff, I love in our few minutes we have of this year's program.
Sure.
Here's the challenge. Because of the complexity of today's cars, and because you have to remove upper and lower body panels, belly pans, and because you have to take the panels off of engines to gain access, and because you have specific O-ringed cartridges, filters, and you can't use a screwdriver to dig an O-ring out because you will carve a trench in the O-ring surface. You've got to pinch that out like you would a belt, and you don't use a tool to get an O-ring out of anything. And it just doesn't, you know, and I say I'm making a statement here. I'm saying that the level of technology that's used to change oil and filter in sophisticated cars is far less than what it should be because the cars are so sophisticated. What do you think?
Yes. I agree. I think cars are so sensitive anymore to anything that will come on that dash, because anything that leaks is going to show an oil pressure change immediately once that thing starts leaking.
Well, but I'm going a step further than that. It's not about oil leaks. It's about the capability and the pay grade of an oil change. But you have to start somewhere. Unfortunately, the single most performed service on all cars in the world would be oil change, other than wash.
Oh, sure. It's
other
a basic
than washing,
thing you need.
Would be oil change. Hey, my friend, I'll let you go. A happy New Year
too.
to you. Thank you very much.
God bless you, Bobby.
God bless you. Folks, gas prices are down for the 7th week in a row. $2.40 national average, $2.70 on the West Coast. I want to take this opportunity again to wish everyone a happy New Year. I want to thank our Car Clinic radio affiliates that clear and air our broadcast. I want to thank our sponsors and partners for sticking with us and for providing for you and your automobiles all the great products. I want to thank the Renewable Fuels Association for allowing me to get the myths out of the way and the facts out with regard to the ethanol and what that does for the lowering of gas prices and reducing our company's dependence on foreign oil. And I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm Bobby Likis. Like you, I love you. Like us, you'll love us. See you next year.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
This Tire Maintenance Minute is brought to you by General Tire. Anywhere is possible with a grabber line of light truck tires born from competition. Thought can probably take you back to high school chemistry. But did you know nitrogen-filled tires offer benefits their air-filled counterparts can't? Nitrogen-filled tires maintain a more constant pressure, as pure nitrogen is not as affected by ambient air temperature swings as is the mixed gas air we usually pump in tires. Constant pressure means better handling, less tire wear, and increased fuel economy. Additionally, since nitrogen suspends less moisture, the internally exposed part of your wheel is less susceptible to corrosion. Drawbacks: not every repair shop has nitrogen. Another consideration is price. While air is free, nitrogen typically costs between $3 and $10 per tire. Drive to GeneralTire.com to learn more about the Grabber line of light truck tires. Anywhere is possible with Grabber. And for more details, visit GeneralTire.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Driving a cab in this town, you're nuts. It's like hurry up and wait. Last week, I'm stuck behind a bus on Broadway when that pastrami on ride catches up with me. Ooh, heartburn big time. Guy in the back seat says, "Here, take a Zantac 75. I say, "What are you, a doctor?" And he says, "Yeah."
Zantac 75 relieves heartburn anywhere, anytime.
A real gentleman, that doctor.
Zantac 75, the heartburn relief doctors trust.
Hi, Tom Bodette from Motel 6. Baby boomers ain't babies anymore. Ties as wide as your belly are out. So are bell-bottom pants. Oh, wait, bell-bottoms are back in. Well, spending more money than you have to is still definitely out. So save money. Stay at Motel 6 times. And before front of your kid's haircut, you might want to check out your old yearbook. Talk about what goes around comes around. I'm Tom Bodette from Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.